Before we start today, I'm going to go over the homework problem. This is number 15 from the homework. You should have done an eye chart. You need two numbers that multiply to negative 32 but add to negative 14. What are they? Yes, 2 and negative 16. Those multiply to negative 32 but add to negative 14. So your answer is w squared plus 2 and w squared minus 16. Those are your factors. This one is a difference of squares. So we can factor this even further. So guys, what's the square root of this? That cancels. I'm left with w. What's the square root of 16? 4. So we write this as w plus 4 and w minus 4. And this one is not a difference. That's a sum. There's no formula for that. So those are your factors. All right. Same process. I'm going to do an eye chart, but guys, I cannot go straight to my factored form like I did in the previous one. All right. So I'm going to do 8 times negative 3, which is negative 24. And this term is 10. So what are my two numbers? 12 and negative 2 will give me negative 24. And if you do 12 minus 2, you get 10. Perfect. All right. You cannot go right into here. If you do this, this is wrong. Your leading term, your leading coefficient is an 8. That means I have to do my 4 terms. So I'm going to do plus 12c squared minus 2c squared minus 3. You have to set it up like this. Okay. Notice, guys, this is a squared right here because 12 minus 2 is the 10, and it has to be a c squared. That's why these need to match, c squareds. Okay. All right, so now we're going to split it down the middle. What is the GCF on this side? Good, 4c squared. So 4c squared goes on the outside. What's left over is 8 divided by 4 is 2. I'm left with c squared. Those c squareds cancel, and I'm left with the 3. On this side, what did you divide by? Negative 1. So negative 1 is on the outside. You're left with 2c. 2 negatives make a positive. And those match. So I know I did it correctly. If those match, you know it's correct. All right, so that goes in one parentheses. And what is on the outside will go in the other parentheses. Okay, we're not done. We can do difference of squares here. For this one, do you guys know what the square root would be? 2c, and the square root of 1 is just 1. And then do the opposite, 2c plus 1. So those are all of your factors. Just like this. Very good catch. These need to match. That's a squared. All right. Any questions? All right. So let's go ahead and go to the notes. That was a little review of your homework for the questions that y'all had. Today we're going to be talking about zeros and multiplicity. Okay. The x-intercepts of a function are also called zeros. Do you guys know what else they're called? Roots. What else? Solutions. So these little points that I drew, those are on the x-axis. That means those are called x-intercepts. We also call those points roots, zeros, and solutions. A polynomial function of degree n can have at most n real zeros. What this means, let's go back to that homework problem we had that we just did. You guys see that this is a degree 4? That means you're going to have an answer from here, an answer from here, and 2 answers from here. You're going to have 4 solutions because it's a degree 4. Okay? Again, here, degree 4, you're going to have at most 2 answers. I'm sorry, 4 answers. Okay, that's what that sentence means. So an even degree polynomial has an even number of real zeros, or no real zeros. And an odd degree polynomial has an odd number of real zeros. Okay. The solutions to the equation f of x equals 0 are the zeros of the function. They are also called roots. If x equals c is a solution to the equation, then x minus c is also your linear factors. And I'm going to explain what that means. Let's do this first example. We all know how to factor this. How should I start? Exactly. You're going to divide by x. So guys, go ahead and show me what you get. You'll get x squared plus 5x minus 24. Prachi, what do you think we're going to do next to factor some more? What method? Good, night chart. What goes up here? Good. What goes down here? Good. Figure out those two numbers, guys. I heard someone whisper it. Was that you? Very good. 8 and -3. All right, so guys, these are your linear factors. You have an x on the outside, and then you have x plus 8 and x minus 3. These are called your linear factors. They're called linears because they only have x's. When you go back to that homework problem, this is linear. This one's linear. This one's what? Quadratic, because it has a 2. Okay? Right now we're talking about linear factors. Okay. So those are our linear factors. We have 3 of them. This one, and that one. Those are your linear factors. Okay, now what are the zeros? You set these all equal to 0 and solve. So set that equal to 0, you get x equals 0. Set this one equal to 0, what do you get? Good, x is -8. And what is this one? Yep, x equals 3. Those are your zeros. So what this sentence up here was saying is that if this is your answer, so for example, our answer, we got x equals 3, then that means this is your linear factor that it goes with. Notice it's the opposite. You have a positive c, and here it's a negative c. You guys see how they're the opposite? Okay, you see how these are the opposites? That's all that sentence is saying, okay? So I'm not going to do these examples. I'm going to have you practice factoring. We're going to go ahead and move to this page. Let's go ahead and practice factoring again. So what should I divide all of these by? Good. Go ahead and do it. So x will be on the outside. And this is what I'm left with. Prachi, what do you think my two numbers are? Good, 5 and 5, because 5 times 5 is 25, 5 plus 5 is 10. So we're going to write our factors like this. X on the outside, then x plus 5 times x plus 5. All right. Jimena, what are my answers going to be? What's this one? Good. What's the next one? And do you guys see how she said x -5 twice? Okay, that means it's a multiplicity of 2 because it happened twice. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so I'm going to write multiplicity. I'll put mult for short. Multiplicity of 2 because I got the answer -5 twice. How many times did I get x equals 0? Once. So this one is a multiplicity I'll spell it out so you guys can see what it looks like. Multiplicity of 1. So that's the new word, multiplicity. The multiplicity of a 0 is the degree of the corresponding linear factor. So guys, if I wanted to write this a little more efficiently, you can write these factors as x, and you have x plus 5 twice. So you can put a squared. Okay, so you guys see how the linear factor has a squared on it? That's your multiplicity, 2. All right, go ahead and try this one, guys. What am I going to divide by? Not just x squared, negative x squared, because that leading coefficient is negative. So I have negative x squared on the outside. This is what's left over. Negative 6x plus 9. That's what's left over. I'm going to do an eye chart. Fernando, what do you think my numbers are going to be? Perfect. -3 and -3. So we're going to write our factors. Negative x squared, and I have x minus 3 twice. Guys, is it okay if I just combine this and make it a squared? Okay. I have it twice, so I'm just going to put a squared. Okay, so these are your linear factors. Okay. If you set this equal to 0 and solve, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get 0. I can do the algebra for you, but you're just going to get 0. You would divide both sides by a negative. 0 divided by a negative is still 0. And then you would take the square root. What's the square root of 0? So we solved it and we got 0. Guys, what is the exponent on it? So guys, this is a multiplicity of 2. All right. Jocelyn, what do I get for this answer? Yep, you get x equals 3. What's the multiplicity? 2. Multiplicity of 2. Because remember, I had x minus 3 and x minus 3. And I just condensed it to 2 of them. Okay, do we understand what multiplicity means? Okay, great. So guys, let's do a third example of this. I want you guys to factor this over here. I'm going to have you do this on your own in the box. Once you factor it, put the factored form in the box. All right, check your answer up here. See if you got it right. You should have divided all of these by x. So you're left with x squared plus 4x plus 4. Thumbs up if you got that far. Good. What'd you guys do next? An eye chart? What numbers did you get? Good, 2 and 2. So that means this is x times x plus 2, x plus 2. What are your answers? And, but how many negative 2's did you get? 2 of them. So this is multiplicity of, good. And this is multiplicity of 1. Perfect. Okay. Your factored form, I'm just going to condense this. Just put a little 2 on it since you have 2 of them. Thumbs up if that's okay. Okay, great. Let's move on with our notes. When the multiplicity is even, the graph is tangent to that point. When the multiplicity is odd, the graph intersects the x-axis at that point. I'm going to put in parentheses, the word tangent means it doesn't cross. Write that down. Doesn't cross. Intersects means it will cross. Okay? Those are the technical terms. Tangent and intersects. Okay. Now, remember guys, these are your x-intercepts. Those are your solutions. So go ahead and plot them on the graph. You have one at 0, and you have an x-intercept at -2. Now, something that you had to remember from last unit. You guys see that this is a degree 3 polynomial? Everyone draw in the air. What should it look like? Exactly. Wait, do it again. There we go. That's how it should look. So it should look like this. X cubed looks like that. That means I'm going to start down here. Start down here and go to the first x-intercept. -2. Remember you said -2 has an even multiplicity? That means it will not cross. So go away. Now go to the next one. This one had a multiplicity of 1. That is odd. What did we say? It crosses. Go through it. Doesn't that kind of look like what you just drew in the air? All right, let's try another one. Okay, here they gave you the linear factors. If I set this equal to 0, what will I get? 1. If you set this one equal to 0, what will you get? Yes, you get 3 halves. Let me just show my work. Add 3 to the other side and then divide by 2. You'll get 3 halves. And if you set this one equal to 0, -4. Okay, now let's talk about the multiplicity. What's the degree of this one? 2. This one, 2. And the last one, 1. So guys, this is an even multiplicity. Doesn't cross. This is even. It will not cross. We call that tangent. Maybe I should teach y'all the real word. Tangent. These are tangent. This one is odd, so it will cross. We call that intersecting. So intersects. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. You guys have a 0 at 1. You have a 0 at 3 halves. That's the same as 1.5. So I'm going to put it in the middle. This one's at 1. So you have 1 at 1, 1 at 3 halves, and another one at -4. Those are your x-intercepts, your zeros. Okay, guys, count with me. This is a 2, and a 1. If you add them all up, what do you get? So that's your degree 5 polynomial. Everyone sketch in the air what that should look like. Good, Aiden. Show me some more. Good, Lee. Okay, y'all got it. Okay, it should look like this. So I'm going to start down here. Go to the first one. At -4, we said it crosses. So I'm going to go through it. Now go to your next one. That's at 1. We said it doesn't cross. So go back up. Don't cross it. Go to this one. It says it doesn't cross. Don't cross it. Just go back up. That's what it looks like. Now, you guys try number 10. Abigail, what's the first step for number 10? Very good. Divide by x cubed. Everyone should be starting off by dividing by x cubed. That means x cubed is out here. Zara, can you tell me what's left? Good. Good. Very good. All right. Lydia, what are you going to do after this? Good. You're going to find the factors. I'll let you guys do the rest, and y'all are going to fill out the table. All right. Look up and see if you got it right. What factors did y'all get? 4 and 4. So this is x cubed, x plus 4. Are y'all going to make me write it again? How can I shorthand this? Good. X plus 4 squared. Okay. What's the answer for this one? Good. You get x equals 0. What's the multiplicity? 3. Because this has exponent of 3. What's the multiplicity of the -4? Good. Multi 2. So that's what you put in your table. You got 0 and -4. The multiplicity was 3 and 2. So guys, if it's odd, what do? Yes, it crosses. That word is intersects. It intersects. right? A street is where they cross each other, an intersection. Okay, 2, what do? It's tangent, which means what? It doesn't cross. Did you guys sketch it on your paper? All right. So you should have plotted your 0 and your -4. This is a 5th degree. That means it looks like this. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to approach my first one. At -4, it says don't cross. I'm going to go back down. I'm not going to cross it. Go to the next one. It says cross it. Boom. That's what it should look like. What did you get for this? Good. -16, -1. So we'll have x squared minus 16 and x squared minus 1. Do I stop here? No. What should I do? Yes, let's do square roots because we have a difference of squares. We all know the square root of 16 and we all know the square root of 1. So this will be x what? Thank you, Jimena. X plus 4, x minus 4. What's this one? Thank you, Trisha. All right, guys. What are my answers? What does this one give you? -4. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very good. All right, guys. Y'all need to sketch it. What are the multiplicities of all of these? 1, because there's only 1 of each type. So all the multiplicities are 1. 1 is even or odd. So it's all odd multiplicities. That means you cross, right? You cross each of these. Fernando, what's the highest degree that I have? It's a 4 degree. Everyone draw in the air. What should it look like? Good, Belle. It should look like a U. That means here's one at -4. Here's one at +4. Here's one at -1, +1. You guys should be starting up here and ending up here because you all just drew a U in the air. And you should go through all of them. Look, go through it, go through it, go through it, go through it. That's what your graph looks like.